Well, hello traders and investors. I'm Ellie Little and this is your daily NeoTA Wrap, where we take a look at these markets and we're doing it from a neoclassical perspective. That means each day we ask ourselves what happened today and what does it tell us about the coming ones. Supply and demand on the charts, folks, that's where it's at. As far as what happened today, let's take a look at the charts. Starting with the quotes, S&P does finish up slightly. If you remember last night, it had a failed test at the highs. We'll see how that played out. It did not finish red. In other words, didn't pull back, but it tried to gallop higher and then got reeled in by the end of the day. The weak one was the one that has been weak. That's the NDX, down 0.25%. Gold was slightly down. Silver was slightly down, or actually about 0.5%. DAX, CAX, all of those had a nice strong finish today, up 1.5% there. The euro settled down. What didn't settle down was the Swiss franc. Swiss franc was on quite a run to the upside again, and that put some pressure on the Swiss markets. But those markets in general, if you look at them, they really didn't tell you much today. Still doing big range taking place over there. Big news today was oil. Oil pops up another 1.5%. On the proxy here, USO, it's over $50 on West Texas Intermediate. Let's pop into the charts here and see what they tell us. We'll start with the S&P 500. Now, the S&P 500 last night, if you remember, we were looking at this and saying, hey, we got a test failure at the highs. We got over, back under on the S&P, right? This bar had less volume compared to the bar we were comparing it to, which was this one. And so we get over it, we get back under it, we have less volume. That's a test failure, both on price and on volume. That should pull back. What does it do today? Pushes higher, does get the long tail at the top, right? But does actually finish over this high. So it's going to break the swing point high today, even on this weak type action. Has a little bit more volume than it did yesterday, which says it can go try again tomorrow. So this is about the fourth time now that we've seen failures either on the S&P or the NDX or the Russell or whatever not succeed in what they're trying to do. And what does that tell you? It tells you that this market is stronger than you think it is, right? When a market won't do what it should do, the underlying clue is that it is stronger than you think it is. So in other words, whatever pullback it gives you, you can expect those buyers to come in and try to do it again. So that's the S&P 500. If we look at the NASDAQ, the broad NASDAQ, the NASDAQ itself gets up over, has a little bit more volume, over the swing point high one more time. It's been up there. It's been hanging up there now. Can't really gallop away, but can't be pulled back in yet. The weak one is the NDX. Biotechs were the weakest sector today. Stocks continue to push higher, but the big cap technology still can't get going. The NDX is still trapped here in this area. Can't get up, can't get down. Trying to get back into this range. It's testing these bottom over and over and over. Still can't do it. Got a little bit of a pullback today. Volume expanded. This is going to try to test back into this lower band, and I suspect that's going to keep a cap elsewhere, even though the S&P is going to try to get higher. The leader has been the small caps in terms of the indexes here in the U.S. The small caps continue to push. New high tonight, gets over, stays over, has a little bit more volume. This thing can continue, and even this big steep angle, there's nothing here to tell us it's going to stop yet. We will get a retrace. We always do. Question is when will it happen? And right now, it's not showing us that it's going to. When you're looking at markets like this, the worst thing you can do is overthink it. What you should be doing is you should be looking at these markets and asking yourself, where is the strength, right? And I've said now since Sunday, I've said the emerging markets is where the strength is. And if you look at them, this is quite a move from that well, let's do it this way so you can see it more clearly. Let me bring up the pointer here. If we go from here to there, right, you got a little ABCD structure, right, and this thing goes off and completes. I don't know if it's actually completed, but it's very close. If not, 3170 tops in here around 33, so it's about 240 or so. And then if we tack that on here, yeah, it's almost complete, almost there. And so it's coming up these highs, right? Had a nice big run. What you're going to expect is some sort of a little retrace and then an attempt to go again. If you look at this on a longer term perspective right now, the small caps, not the small caps, but the emerging markets, they had quite a run to the downside. I'll bring up the monthly so you can see it more clearly. If you look at the monthly, right, you had this big range up here, right? Small caps broke under that range. The meat of the range was in here, right? When they broke all these swing point lows, they went ahead, broke this one eventually, got the push down, hammer reversal here off that low, right? Less volume, a little inside bar, and then you get the spike up. Now you're trying to break back up. Looks to me like this emerging market's going to try to come back into these lows. If you look at those price points, right, just take the lowest one here with the most volume as the target. Now that's 36.16. So if we pull back over to the daily, 36.16 is off the top of this chart. In other words, you're going to get over these highs. So you can see more than likely you get another pullback. This thing's going to try to run again. That's where the real action is. I said earlier the Swiss market had the franc had some good action to the upside. That's a pretty big run to the upside. That's putting pressure on the European markets, even though today they did finish higher. The other place where you can't overthink it is commodities. I mean, just look at commodities. Look at how these things have broken out of this range. I'm on a daily chart now. If you look at the range is in here. What does it do? It gallops ahead. What's it going to do? It's going to try to expand the range. Usually what you do is you double it. And so you can expect it to try to get up into that area. Volume's coming in. Everything's looking pretty good there if you're just looking at the commodities in general. So it's kind of hard to lose in those places where you have strength. And so if you want to not overthink things, just go to where the strength is, and that's where it looks like it is tonight. As far as what's going to happen tomorrow, looks to me like these markets are going to try to push again. Can they stay up there? They need to retrace. They need to at least consolidate, probably retrace. The NDX is the weakest. If you're looking for a place to short, it's over there. The rest of the indexes want to try to go higher again tomorrow. It's 4 times now in about 2.5 weeks that this market has tried to give us either a reversal or a failure and did not follow through. Telling you that it's stronger than it should be. Telling you that whatever retrace you get, it's likely going to get bought again. That's it for tonight. If you want to get more details, get in and get started, just pop on the button here and check it out. As far as that market, up and away, folks. See you tomorrow. Have a great one. Good night.